Hello, hello, everybody. It's Teresa Shaver from the Business Advisory Center, Durham. Today, I'm really happy to have Orzala Quddusi, owner, CEO of Make It Happen Services. Stay with me as we learn about her journey and also what she does to help businesses stay on top of their customers' minds. So stay tuned. I'm so excited to have Orzala here today. My name is Teresa Shaver. I'm the Executive Director of the Business Advisory Center, Durham, BACD. And today I have Orzala Quddusi from Make It Happen Online. Hello, Orzala.
Hi, Teresa. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited as well to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. I've worked with you for a long time now. You've been a presenter at BACD running a whole bunch of great social media workshops. You've helped our clients. You've mentored our summer company students. You're working on our digital Main Street team, helping our Durham region businesses. So what a treat. And now you've also joined the Expert Network. So for everybody who doesn't know, our Expert Network is a membership where experts and people with subject matter expertise join, and we help refer clients to those experts, and the experts present and help us at BACD too. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship. So thank you.
You're welcome. And again, I'm excited to be a part of the Expert Network as well.
Yes, I'm happy to have you there. It's something that our clients are always looking for. You know, it's kind of become a black hole, the whole social media thing, whereby 10 years ago, while social media was in its infancy, we could easily be on 3 or 4 or 5 or 7 platforms. And now it's become such that you need almost an independent strategy for each platform. What do you say about that?
It's definitely getting harder than it used to be. And I feel like right now with the COVID situation, it's just the competition is getting fierce. So this is the only channel we have available is to market ourselves online. So it's very noisy, and basically the businesses that have the best strategy or the unique strategy are the ones that stands out.
Right.
And it has, yes, it was easy in the past. Like, for example, right now, Facebook reach, organic reach is almost dead.
Wow.
And it's very hard to get attraction for your Facebook pages.
Right. So then we mustn't forget that these platforms are actually huge advertising agencies. And so one of their major sources of revenue is ad revenue. So, if we want to play, we have to pay, is pretty much what they're telling us, right?
It is, yes. And I find that a lot of us, we get, as a small business owners, we get intimidated because we feel like we need to have big budgets to make it work. But with the right strategy, you can really basically make Facebook work for your business if you have a very limited amount of money based towards ads.
Give me an idea of what you mean by that. Like how could someone make this happen using the right strategy?
So a big part of what I do in my business, because I work mainly with small businesses, is the importance of content. So if they have the right content and they really know their target market, the right content is in the content that really stands out from everybody else in their audience feed, the consistency in terms of how many times they're posting and how consistent they are as well. It's a combination of everything. And then also how active they are in general online. They will already organically will help their page to reach a bigger audience. That way, when they are spending money, they could have a basically budget of $50 a month, and they will still see benefits from the ad itself, because that goes a long way when you already are doing the other parts of it right.
So true, so true. So part of why we have an expert network is that BACD's mission is to inspire every entrepreneur to build business success for themselves. And part of that is by having workshops and advisory services and helping people get the steps, the skills, the tools, and the knowledge that they need to run a successful business. And this is where an expert like Orzala comes in. Orzala, I'd love you just to share a little bit about your journey and how you ended up being a social media management company.
I've never really seen myself like where I am, because when I went to school, it was really more traditional marketing.
Yeah.
Not real. There was no social media around at that time. And basically, once I finished my degree in Bachelor's of Commerce in Business, that's when I was basically on search and a quest to see what I wanted to do next. And I decided I went basically online, and I decided that, oh, I could become a virtual assistant, but really focused on the marketing support aspect for businesses, because I had the background in marketing and in business. And I also had some friends that had their own businesses where they struggled with the marketing support aspect of things. I decided that I get into the social media part of it. Also with the business itself, it was a low investment business that I can do with the freedom of my own hours around basically my family's hours. So that was also another point for me to get into that. So I kind of did my homework and see, what are the negatives and the positive side of things. I think something that I struggled and I felt like I was gonna basically deal with was the fact that I'm not the type of person that's out there a lot. So that's something that I never expected that I had to do more of, even though I
Yes.
was getting into social media.
I remember when I met with you right in the beginning, and I was like, you're going to have to start doing workshops and you have to show up on video. And I remember even the time it took you probably about 6 months to work up to the point where you could actually start doing video every day. And what a wonderful challenge that was. And I mean, I applaud you being able to do it. It's not easy to do. Here we make it look easy, but it's not really easy. I'm sure there's lots of people who agree it's not easy. And I also know that you said you're an introvert, and here you are having to like make friends and meet people and network all the time. How do you kind of manage that as, as an introvert and someone who owns a business?
So a lot of the times when I say I'm an introvert, especially in my workshops, and especially when we had it at BACD, which was in person, people would be very shocked, because that's something that I find a lot of small business owners that struggle, especially women. It's most likely because they don't want to put themselves out there, because they're introverts and they feel like, well, I don't like, how I look, or I just don't like to be out there a lot. I see at other people's pictures and I cringe because they're putting themselves out there. It just makes them uncomfortable. So that's always been a number one question from basically attendees of the workshops, going like, yeah, you're giving me these suggestions, but I'm an introvert and I think these are not going to work for them. And then I mentioned that I'm actually an introvert, and they just look at me being basically completely surprised that I can, I'm in front of people. I mean, some of our, like the workshops that we've done together, we've had over, like they've sold out and they've had over 30 people. The ones would do it in Durham. I think there was one time over 50 people attended. So they are very shocked. But from what I believe, that you can be an introvert, but you can learn to be an extrovert when it's needed, and then go back to being an introvert.
Right.
It's something that definitely requires a lot of work, and being like, you have to get used to being uncomfortable. That's where it basically comes down to.
I would agree. Being uncomfortable means you're pushing your boundaries, which means you're growing, right? And if you don't grow, what's the alternative? It's just you stagnate and you don't learn and you don't accomplish new things. And so, I mean, I love to see the growth that you've had in your business. And every time we've ever had you as a presenter at BACD, everybody loves your workshops. You share knowledge, you help people kind of just really understand what goes on with social media. So some of the workshops we've done with Orzala in the past, and one of my favorites is where you take a blog post and you turn it into 15 pieces of content. And I think we're going to be running that one again. We've done ones on Instagram stories, on Facebook advertising, Facebook insights. There's just so many opportunities for you to work it, and to work your social media. I mean, what's your suggestion to businesses today? Do they need to be on all the platforms, you think?
So that's something I feel like a lot of us are making a mistake of, being on all platforms. And I had this conversation with somebody else where I said, I know IG have the reels, but you're never gonna see me dancing on Instagram, right? And the person said, and that's okay. You're the social media person that's not gonna do IG reels and be dancing. And to me, when I look at my basically target market, and that's what it comes down to in terms of what you want to do with online presence. If when I look at my target market, would I have the clients that I have if I be dancing on the reels?
Right.
Really, like I work with clients with accounting firms, with people where they have no time sitting there watching IG reels of
Right.
people dancing. So no, and then the conversations that I get, a lot of my clients really resonate with who I am, where they feel like no, that's not what they should be doing. So it's really looking at your target market, where they're hanging out, and also their behavior. So really, if you know them, what kind of people they are in general, if you like get an in-depth analysis of your target market, then you really understand that you don't have to
Right.
be everywhere in general. And again, I also have to stay true to who I am, and it comes back to the branding. If I'm an introvert and here I am dancing around on IG Reels, it just does not, it looks fake, where yes, I can put on and act for a while, and then when somebody would actually meet me in person, they will not get the same sense.
Right. Very good point. And I wanted to ask you a question around this and for businesses, right? So when you start to work with a business, would you do that? Do you audit their brand and their target audience and kind of help them shape who that's going to be? Tell us a little bit about like what's the type of services you offer.
So one of my, I would say one of the most popular services that I have is a social media audit. And it's interesting that it just came, about, like, I just basically woke up one day and I said, that's something that I can offer. I used to have a 15-minute audit. It wasn't really enough. So I said, well, I can turn this into a full audit and basically have it as a paid service. So this is one of the, again, the most popular services that I do. It's looking at their overall social media presence. In
Right.
addition to that, I also look at their Google My Business listing. It's really like, you'll be surprised some of the stuff that I find. Talking to them wasn't like, yeah, we were trying to basically send this message, but it seems like that was not what they were trying to do, based on coming as in, like, it's basically an outside eye into their business, looking
Right.
and seeing what is it they're, basically working at. It's not only like focusing on what they're doing wrong, it's also on their strength. So that gives them also, a boost into their, you know motivate them. They're saying, oh, we're doing, these are the stuff that we're doing right, that's good, let's focus on the stuff that we can improve.
That's very true, right? I'd love you to tell people a little bit about, like, if they have ideas for content, kind of how to maximize it across their channels.
So a great way of looking at it, I also do another workshop that I've done it before in the past, is dividing your content into buckets of basically promotional content and fluff content, which I call, like, a lot of it is engagement content. Those are fun content, because a lot of the times we get so caught up in giving information that's just educational. So we stick in giving tips all the time. We forget about the other aspects of the content, that we could diversify it, and there's could be a different, basically, aspects of content. Because there might be some of your audience, they would love the tip, the educational, but then there's the other ones going like, maybe I want some fun content. I want to be, participate in some of the polls in your business. So really looking at each channel, and then basically determining, like you said earlier, right now the way it works is like the channels that you pick as your focus channel, and having slightly changing your strategy on each one. I just did an audit for another client where she was putting a lot of affirmations on LinkedIn. And so what we did was we went through her insights to see, okay, well, what are people are doing. So we looked at 2 months of just the content itself.
Right.
0 likes. So every time there was an affirmation, there's 0 interaction, 0 likes. Anything that was related with her, all of a sudden the engagement had gone up. So also doing an audit of going through your content and saying, okay, which ones really resonate with my audience in this particular platform. So the affirmations were doing really good on Facebook and Instagram, but not so much with the LinkedIn audience.
Right.
So it's just quickly looking at your content and see, okay, if this doesn't work, and again, if it's not working, then let's see and how we can change that for that particular platform.
Right. So you mentioned your social media audit. I know there was some other sessions you also run, or other boot camps, or like brand management. I just don't remember them. I'd love you to share what those were.
So another thing that that I love to do, which really is with businesses that are not looking for social media management. So a big portion of my business is working with clients that want me to take care of their social media platforms, because they're so busy in their business, and they want to focus on growing their business, that they don't have time for that. But what I work with clients that are in the startups, and also in I would say less than 2 or 3 years, is working with them one-on-one.
Right.
So it's more of a coaching package, but specifically for social media. So
Right.
it's a 6 session, starts from an audit, where we look at everything that they're doing right and everything that needs improvement. From there, in that audit session, we talk about what are some of the areas that they're looking to
Right.
improve as well. So what I may find and what their focus is might be two different things. So combining that and then working together for the next 5 sessions, one-on-one,
Right.
as in how we can basically turn their goals into reality. It's most mainly teaching them what I do so that they can go and manage their own social media platforms.
Right. And now, do you work on email marketing as well? And do you look at people's websites? And like, how do you put all that together?
So I do work with email marketing. My email marketing is mainly on list building and also creating newsletters, creating sequences in terms of if there are challenges that people want to basically gain more
Right.
subscribers. In terms of the websites, when I'm doing an audit, it's more a quick audit of overall. So I don't look at the technical, the back end. It's more just how it looks like. I've had people that I had an audit today actually done for somebody, and their website was completely not on point with their social media. So it was completely disconnected to a point where you would think I couldn't even find her on social media with the name that the website have. Uh,
Okay.
so just looking at that overall aspect of it and seeing sometimes it's the links that are not working
Right.
as well. So it could be it comes across as being very basic stuff, but you'd be surprised at how many people are not paying attention to
I
it.
know. I know you did an audit for us as well and gave us a few tips ourselves because, you're right. When you're in the thick of it, you just can't do it. The other service that I love that you do is you also do blog writing. So you get blog articles, and a blog is, tell me, why is a blog important for businesses, and why we think like people have stopped paying attention, but they don't realize what it does for their business, right?
A lot of the times with blogging, it's another, I would say, another aspect of the online that's underutilized in the small business community. And part of it is because a lot of us, we feel like we're not writers and we shouldn't be writing. But the benefits of it is it helps with the SEO. It shows you as the expert in your industry. And it also gives fresh content for your website. Come across some websites that have not been touched for like 5 years or 10 years. It's the same. Even, you see their headshot pictures.
Right.
It's still, it's like 10 years old. So it gives that aspect that in addition from the social media perspective, it gives you additional content. At the end of the day, you can pull content out of your blog post to post across your platforms.
Right. Totally agree with you. And I love that idea. So I hope that you guys will come and attend the workshop that we'll have on 15 pieces of content from one blog post. I think it's one of my favorite sessions because it sounds simple, but it is and it isn't. It's just that you've got to do it. Actually, one last question I had. How do you market your business? I'd love you to share with people, like, if they were in a similar business to you or an online business, which is pretty much what you are, how do you market and get known?
So the way I market, it's a lot of people are surprised that the way I market has been mainly networking, yes, but then taking that networking the relationship that I've built online and keeping consistent with it, offline and keeping it consistent with it online. And
Right.
a lot of us, we talk about like, well, I post content, but nobody's interacting with it. And then the number one question I ask is, how many times are you interacting with other people's content? And to me, or with your followers, it's a give and take when it comes to social media. And this is like a lot of the rules that I think happens offline networking, it really applies online.
Right.
So making sure that you are staying on top of those relationships that you have offline, right, online as well. That has been basically one of the greatest things for myself, because I get 90% of my business right now is through referral.
Right. And I think that's the same for many, many businesses. So the things you need to grow as a small business is your referrals and then your ability to be found online, right? So I always look at it like, be where your customers are. So if they're going to be in these different places, make sure you have a presence in those places. So then when people are searching for you, they can find you. And I think that's what you're doing. You're offering that ability.
it's not only presence. I always say it's being presentable. So when we go to a networking event, we want to make sure that we're presentable when we go there. But I feel like a lot of us, we don't really treat our social media platforms the same way. So being presentable, like you go to somebody's page, they haven't posted in
Yes.
a year, basically. That's just one example of it. So making sure that if somebody comes across your page or they find you, that you're presentable the same way as if somebody comes across to you on a networking event, and you're able to basically the professionalism and everything that goes with it.
Yeah, so that again, it comes back to the brand consistency. You want it to be visible across all your platforms and across all the content that you write, right? I think that's what it is.
It is, yes. It does come down to that. And just staying consistent where, again, it's like if people sees your post, they can recognize that it's you.
Right.
Just from that perspective, a lot of people, they just like, oh, I like this color, so I'm using it now. Or they see somebody else doing it and then they want to follow it. It's just also staying true to your own brand.
Right. Tell me, what are the best tools of or the tricks of the trade, or the best tools of the trade that you use to create content? I'd love you to share some.
Well, you kind of know one of the tools that I use is I love Canva. I'm not a graphic designer, so it has helped me to basically run my business because most of my content is created there for my clients and myself. I guess one of the tricks for people that have been using Canva for a while is not basically following the template. So what I do is my templates are not duplicates of what Canva suggestions has. I kind of create my own, but I use it as an inspiration. So I might pick a template that I like, but then when I finish with it, it looks completely different than where I started. So Canva is definitely a great tool. And for a lot of small businesses, they can they can get away with the free version of it as well.
Right. That's very cool. I like it. Thank you for sharing that. I hope you guys, if you need Orzala, you want to have a website audit, or should I say a social media audit, it's well worth your time, or worth her time to do so. So thank you very much, Orzala. I really appreciate your time today and look forward to working with you.
Thank you so much for having me again, Teresa.